Welcome to another edition of the Unsexy Businessmen podcast, where we talk about everything entrepreneurship and unsexy businesses. As always, I am joined by my brother, Aaron Skinner. I am Alex Skinner, and today we are going to be chatting about businesses that you can start for cheap, businesses that don't require heavy capital. One type of company that Aaron himself has started and was able to grow to a huge amount of money. Actually, two companies on this list are things that you've started and have been able to grow and scale. So we know for two of the five, 100% you can start these up for cheap. And then the other three, based on research and conversations we've had with people in these industries, the startup costs are incredibly low. And so the reason that we want to do this, and Aaron, why do you want to talk about this?
I think the main reason I like talking about this, because I think when people are considering starting a business, one of the things that stops them is money, right? So you think you have to spend, you have to have tens of thousands of dollars in order to start up your own business. And that's just not the case. And in fact, the reason I started the cleaning business was the initial upfront cost was so low, and I didn't have a lot of money. I think I had like $500 in my bank account, and I didn't want to spend even all of that just to start a business. And so that was just looking for different options, I guess, to start a business with very limited capital. And so I think that's the main reason we want to talk about this, right? Is like letting people know there are a plenty of options, and we're going to talk about five. There's dozens of businesses that you could do this with. Just put in a little bit of research, figuring it out, but we're going to give you five today it's actually three, because I think on here I think there's three businesses that are kind of incorporated with what I ended up doing. And the nice thing too about these is they can kind of build off of each other anyway. So if you start doing one thing, you can kind of pivot into other assets, or you could start offering different services and make even more money, which is exactly what I did with Honestly Clean.
Yeah. So again, a little taster of like what Aaron did. And I know there's like two on here that I don't think that you did, but I think, we want to provide some other options for you if cleaning isn't exactly the way that you want to go. But I'd say we just hop into it really quick here. So number one is window cleaning. And let me just say, my experience with anything Aaron has done is only in window cleaning, and primarily with a more expensive model that he had scaled to over time. But I also got the opportunity to learn how to do just the I don't even know what that's called when you're using what's that called? The squeegee.
It's called
when you're using a squeegee.
It's called the fanning method. So you're fanning over the window. So you fan with a
I
squeegee.
can verify that. I know I only did it for a day, but because he was in Utah, he's not always in Utah. He's primarily doing stuff in Idaho, but I can verify you can learn how to do this really, really quick. I've seen tons and tons of YouTube videos on it. So if you want to start a window cleaning business tomorrow and just start walking to businesses and be like, hey, we can do your windows for you, you could literally start this tomorrow. Am I crazy with that?
No, the thing about that, window cleaning is probably the cheapest on this list of things you could do, because literally all you need, it's called a T-bar, and the T-bar is just like the spongy looking thing. It's called a T-bar because it looks like a T. And then a squeegee and a bucket and some soap. So you could get everything you needed to start under $100. I mean, if you could get a stepping stool or a ladder or whatever to get some of maybe the higher up windows for some commercial jobs. But no, when we would train people to do window cleaning and doing that fanning method, it would be like 30 minutes of showing them how to do it, and then they had it down pretty good. And then by the end of the day, they were really, really good, because you're just constantly doing the same thing over and over again. And so that muscle memory builds up really fast. And like I said, the reason I really like this one, I'm glad we're starting with this one, is it's so cheap to start. And every summer I have kids, high school kids. I mean, it can't be that hard if high school kids are doing it. Not that they're not smart, but Yeah, but during the summer, I get probably a half a dozen kids that come through our neighborhood knocking on the door, say, hey, we want to clean your windows. And it's that easy. It really is that easy. Like once you have your little setup of you need to have some rags, the T-bar, the squeegee, the bucket, the soap. We just use like Dawn dish soap. And if you want to, I mean, that was the good stuff. So if you want to get like the Walmart brand, you could use that too. And it doesn't make that big of a difference. But, and then if we're talking about what you can make off of each one of those houses. So when they come and all the bids we would get from the high school kids, they'd all be around $200 to $300. And that was usually just the outside windows. And so if they would have included the inside windows, it's a little bit cheaper. So probably $300 to $400 that you're looking at per house. And so it's not hard if you're just going door to door, doing it that way, to start building up a clientele. And that's just the residential side. If you go hit up a lot of the businesses around your town, they want it done on a more regular basis. Most homeowners get it done once a year, maybe twice a year. And so that's still really good. But if you want like that consistent income, then you just hit up businesses. We talk about that all the time. The importance of getting commercial clients it's more regular, the cleanings that you're doing. But it's so easy. Like it's not hard at all. And then that just gets your foot in the door once you're already, especially with businesses and homes. If you're doing an awesome job with that service and then you want to incorporate a new service, whatever you want to do, it's so easy once you already have those relationships. Like, hey, we've been doing your window cleaning for a couple of years. We actually started doing, gutter cleaning or pressure washing or whatever it is. And then you already have that built-in customer base that you can start offering those services to.
Yeah. So looking at this, just estimates based on what Aaron said he needed for starting his company, you're looking at anywhere between $800 to $1,200 to start up, or if you want to just bare essential it, somewhere between $300 and $500. But if you do the math based on what Aaron was is getting charged when those high schoolers are coming around, you can essentially pay for that equipment in one job, maybe two, if it's a cheap job. And what's fascinating about what Aaron just said, and maybe it's because do we have more windows at our house than your house? We got quoted like $1,200 to clean our windows last summer. So that's either someone who's like, we're super slammed and we don't have time, and they're just had a huge price, or there is opportunity for, maybe there's someone out there who just be like, I don't want to do any more research. Sure, $1,200 sounds good. I'm not sure what he was doing, but that's quite a range, going from that $500 Aaron was talking about to about $1,200 that we got quoted here in Utah. And maybe that's just a Utah versus Idaho thing, but you can make your money back. Either way, you'll make your money back in one cleaning.
Did you hire him?
No.
Yeah. That dude, $1,200 is absolutely insane. Like even in Utah, that's an insane price to quote. You do have more windows than I do, but not 3 times as many windows. Yeah, that's again, do some market research and see what your competition is charging, and make sure you're not doing that much. Yeah, $1,200. That's crazy. But maybe it's $600. Maybe in Utah it's $600. So I mean, that's, dude, so to do a house, is it 4,000 square feet, Alex, your house?
Yeah.
So to do a house of that size would probably take you, was that inside and out? Do you remember?
Inside and out.
So inside and out, to do a house of your size would probably take 3 hours, maybe, to do.
So $100 an hour.
Yeah, just by yourself.
$400.
Yes. So that, like, to the guy that came and did mine a couple of summers ago, he was done, because they just did the outside, and I think he was like $250. He just did the outside, and he was done in an hour. And so that just kind of shows you, I mean, you making at your current job, are you making $250 an hour? Probably not. So this is kind of what we're talking about, where you can definitely take control of your finances and your financial freedom and things like that. And then you can really start to, it's fun to do the math the math game. Like, if I could get 4 of these a day, I'm making $1,000 a day. If I could do this. And so it is possible. There's people that make tons of money doing just window cleaning. I mean, we had a day, we did window cleaning. I think we made like 8 grand in one day. That wasn't normal, but to make $2,000 or $3,000 in a day during the summer wasn't crazy at all. That was probably about average when we were kind of at our peak.
And just how easy it is to scale from like what Aaron was talking about in terms of like training. So like you don't necessarily have to be the one who's doing this all the time, or maybe you keep doing it just to make more money, and then you're creating the clients for these people to go and window wash. I imagine it's probably one of the jobs where it's easier to lose employees who are like, I could go do this myself.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here to talk about, how to engage with your employees. But this is a very easily scalable one. And we're primarily talking residential. And then if you start getting into commercial cleaning, you're going to be able to make a significant amount of money.
Oh, a ton more money, because that machine that you were talking about that we purchased, dude, I think it was probably like maybe 5 grand for it. Essentially it is a water fed pole system, and it allowed us to do hotels. And when we were doing hotels, we were probably doing between $3,000 to $5,000 a day, doing hotel window cleaning. And so that's just, again, if just think about it this way. Let's say you have your crew that you're having do residential stuff, and then you're going to do the hotels and commercial stuff. Your crew's making $1,000 to $2,000 a day. You're making an extra $3,000 to $5,000. Like, you can make a lot of money doing this.
Yeah.
And I did.
Moving on to the next one, commercial cleaning, office and janitorial. How much does that cost to start?
To start that up, I mean, it's really the interesting thing about it is most of the offices that we did had their own supplies. So they'd have their own cleaning supplies, they had their own mop bucket, they had all their own stuff. Now, let's say they don't. It's definitely under $1,000, dude. I mean, you get a decent vacuum, you get your mop bucket, you have your trash cans that you're kind of pushing around to collect all the smaller trash cans, all the chemicals. It's probably going to be around $500 to $800 to have everything that you need. And again, scalable beyond scalable. It's so easy. It's so easy to scale that. It is easy. It's very doable to scale. You start getting into employees and stuff like that. And obviously we're not going to get into that super duper deep. We talk about that in other podcasts, but yeah, dude, like once you have your method, your standard operating procedure, I hope you watch that podcast that we talked about it. Once you have that, it's so easy just to go from like, I know exactly what I have to do for commercial cleaning, and I can replicate that in any business, any size business. It doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff. It's just knowing how many bodies you need to put into that building is all it really is.
Yeah, and looking at like some of like the higher end type of products, if you wanted to do it. So Aaron gave you like a minimum viable, which is great, fantastic. So the least amount of money that you need to start, if these places don't have things already, would be somewhere between $1,200 and $1,800 for like nice equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, now we have to do the math of what does a job cost?
Right. So, I mean, if you were talking about just a 5,000 square foot, we're going to smaller, like a 1,500 square foot office space, you should be making $2,000 to $3,000 a month off that. There's a ton of factors that go to that. How often do they want it cleaned? What type of facility is it? Is it a medical facility? Is it just like a call center? Is it, what degree of cleaning do you need to have? So you could, a building that size, 1,500 square feet, I'd say $2,000 a month would be very reasonable to do that on a kind of your average building. And so, yeah, within a month, you have all that stuff paid off. The key is don't go buy all the super expensive equipment. Buy used stuff. Buy, You don't need to have the nicest vacuum. You don't need to have the nicest mop. I don't even know what that would be. Those are all pretty standard. But don't go and buy like $1,000 vacuum, because what we learned was we wanted to have vacuums that were decent, but they're going to get banged up. They're going to, the cords are going to get broken. Things are just going to happen with them. So don't go buy the most expensive vacuum you can find. Buy a Shark that's like what, $200, and those things last for a long time as well. So I don't think you have to go get like one of those backpack vacuums. And you can we eventually got those, but in the beginning, you don't need to have the fanciest, nicest equipment.
You need what is necessary to get the job done and make sure that you're happy with the amount of money that you're getting back from it.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, this looks like after just a job, you'd be able to pay that back, and then you start making money and scaling from there. Remember, this is not a podcast on scaling right now. This is just giving
Ideas,
you the numbers
business. Yeah.
of why you. What's awesome about this one too, and you've mentioned this before, this is like the easiest one to do with your day job, especially if you're single, especially if like you have no other responsibilities, like my normal job making money by day, my other job making money by night. And then eventually you can just switch, like, oh, now I'm making enough money. I have some cleaning jobs that I can do during the day to replace my other work. And then bada bing, bada boom, you don't even like it's way easier to quit that job later on. And faster, I should say.
And all the add-ons. Like I'm probably going to say this multiple times throughout this podcast, but you're already in there doing the commercial cleaning. Add window cleaning to that. And that's just another, $200 to $300 you can add on top of whatever, depending on how many windows they have, that you can add to what you're already making off of that client. So just always be looking for things that you can add service-wise to maximize the amount of money that you can make off of each one of those clients that you have.
Yeah, 100%. Number 2, and by number 2, I mean number 3. This is where we have a little less experience, but I know someone who did this. So it's junk removal. The caveat with this one is you're generally going to want, like, this is more for like, do you already own a truck that can tow things around? Because obviously if you don't have a truck, you're going to have to get one, but a solve for that is renting. So if you eliminate the vehicle and you just do the equipment, trolleys, tarps, shovels, wheelbarrows, ramps for heavy items if necessary, you're looking at a maximum of $2,000 to start. And I know that depending on what it is, people will pay, it depends on the job. These can vary from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars per job. And it really just comes down to the amount of stuff that they want you to move. I remember when we were working with a junk removal company, they got paid $500 to remove a washing machine. That was it. Showed up, got the washing machine out, put it on their truck, took it to the dump. Obviously, dumping costs, those are going to be things that you're going to have to pay as well. But it took him in total time going from there to the dump a total of an hour. And I think he left with about $400 afterwards. So this is not a bad one. I don't know how much experience you have with this one besides who we worked with and also just internet research.
Yeah, I don't have a ton I have zero experience, I guess, when I could say what it has to do with it, except for being on the customer side of it. We paid someone, we had a washer and dryer, and then we had someone that took a dishwasher to I don't remember exactly how much they charged, but I was willing to pay it because I didn't want to deal with it. And there's plenty of people that are willing to do that. So it's, if you got a strong back and you have you are physically able to, you could make a lot of money. And again, when we're talking about scaling, it's an easy thing to scale. You find some other high school dudes, find some high school guys from the football team that need a summer job or whatever. You can make really good money doing this. And I think the reason we wanted to bring this up too is it's one of those jobs that people really don't think about. You're like, oh, I guess that is a job. I guess that is a business I could create. It's just not one of those ones that you immediately think of when you're trying to think of different business ideas. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this, is throwing out ideas. Again, you don't have to choose this, but just more to prove the point of how many different types of businesses there are out there that don't cost a lot of money to start, but can make a lot of money. Like the dude that started, was that 1-800-JUNK? Dude, that's how he started. He started with just a truck. I don't remember if he rented it or not, but then he scaled it to this like multi-million dollar business that makes tens of millions of dollars a year, that you can do. So this is a feasible way to make a lot of money.
And this is another one of those where just within a few jobs, you have made the money back that you have invested into it. Another one that's pretty useful when it comes to still having a job as well, because if people want to be home when you stop by, most people are home during the evening. So you finish work, go and start doing this and taking their junk away so that you can pay off those costs that you've incurred, which are approximately $1,400 to $2,000, maybe a little bit more than that, but you would have this paid off within a week. It's an interesting having this. We're not going to talk too much about this, but I think this is like an appropriate time to talk about it. I think this all comes back to what we talk about a lot, which is you just have to keep going. So I know someone who he started doing a gutter cleaning company and got jobs, started cleaning gutters, and then he just gave up. Zero, literally no money like that he had to put down. He's just like, oh, Google Business Profile, that's so hard. He had his day job and he's just like, I don't want to like have my weekends taken away. And so this goes back to something that we've talked about before. It's like, do you have the grit to do it? This is someone who complains about being a W-2 all the time. And he just doesn't. This sounds so mean. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's a negative thing, but it's just, I'm more of like bringing this up just for the realization of like, you have to put time into these things. Like, it's not just you make the example that Aaron just gave of the junk removal guy. So like, and now it's a $10 million company after 3 days. Like you're going to have to put time into these, but it's essentially like that, the idea of you don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun the guy next to you. There's plenty of people out there starting businesses who give up after a couple of days. You just need to keep running while the bear is eating that person.
Yes. The hungry bear. Yeah. Again, that's every single business that has ever been started. Like I don't know. Dude, like, it seems like every time we always go back to this where I'm just like, just do it. Like, it is hard. I don't want to it's not that hard. It like the concept isn't that hard. The execution is hard because you actually have to, you do have to work weekends. When you were talking about the junk removal thing, which being perfect for if you're working at the time, dude, do it on the weekends. Like, it's the people that are willing to make those sacrifices in the beginning, and it might be several months, it might be a year of building that clientele, but you have to be willing to throw away some Saturdays, miss some football games, do whatever it is. Where is this more important to you to build this business than, having a Saturday off? And if you don't want to have to do that, then don't start a business. But we're always talking about, it's hard. It's really, really hard to start a business, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And if you understand that from the very beginning and you are willing to put up with all of those ups and downs, you will get to a place. Again, one of my favorite quotes that I misquote all the time is work like no one's willing to work, so you can eventually live like no one is able to live. So being like, work your ass off so you can get to a spot where you can do all those, you have that freedom now, you have that money, you have all this stuff, but you have to be able to put in that time and make all those sacrifices.
Heading into business number 4, auto detailing. This one I have a little bit of experience with because somebody detailed my car. He had a minimum charge just to like show up of $100. So that minimum job, and he was just starting off. So I imagine that there's other people that may charge more. This one's a little bit different too, because you have to decide if you want how much you want to do, maybe you start off with just outside or minor detailing inside. But if you want to go full bore, it's going to be approximately, you'll need a dual action polisher, shop grade wet and dry vacuum, small entry level extractor, buckets, hoses, sprays, nozzles, microfiber towels, brushes, chemicals such as soaps and the things to clean the car. And all of this stuff, a lot of this, the cleaning chemicals in bulk is going to be pretty cheap. Is estimated at $1,500 to $2,500. If you want to start off light and only doing light interior work at the start, it could be $800 to $1,200. But once again, homeboy came over, charged me $100. That's going to be 15 jobs that you need to get in order to break even, 25 jobs at the most. If you are doing the bare minimum, if you are doing more for them, it's going to take you approximately like 5 jobs. 5 jobs,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to, because I'm pretty sure he's like, do you want a full car detail? And it was around like $600 or $700. So that would be 3 to 4 jobs for him. And he was a 19-year-old kid, and I believe at the time, and I make this up every single time, but I'm pretty sure he was doing like $250,000, because that seems like the right number. He was doing $20,000 a month.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was after 1 year of like doing the company. So it is possible. His calendar was full. You just need to go out, get the equipment, start doing it. This is another one of those too, where you can do it after hours. Most people probably want theirs done at their home anyway. So if they're at work, they're either going to be doing it asking for it on a Saturday or asking for it after their 9 to 5 is done. So this works perfectly again with having a full-time job and start doing a startup.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is, I mean, this is going to go without saying, but if you do an awesome job, people are going to hire you again. Like
Again,
if you want to have success in your business, always be first of all, do a really good job. Be honest, be normal. And by normal, I mean like have a personality, be able to have a little repartee with your clients, and then they're not going to call anybody else. And don't let them call anyone else. If it's been a year, if you ask them, like, if you get that car detailing job, you get it done, ask them how often they want to get their car detailed. And if it's once a year, if it's every 6 months, whatever it is, make sure you have on your calendar, call Alex in 4 months if you want it every 6 months, or in 8 months if he wants it every year. Like, hey, that time of the year is coming up. My schedule's getting really packed. I want to get you on there. When's a good time to get your car detailed again? That's all you have to do. It's really that easy. Don't leave it up to the customer to reach out to you because you forget their person's name. You forget who detailed your car last. Like, what was the guy's name? And if you go Google, there's going to be like 800 of them. So once you have that client, do not lose that client. And it's just such an easy thing. Like, and it's satisfying. There's something satisfying about cleaning. Maybe that's why I like get into it too, is seeing what it looks like before and then after. And then I don't know, it's something cool, something really cool about that. And it's, again, not hard to do. And once you get your systems in place of how to do that, you can train someone else how to do it, and then you have a crew that are doing. The other idea that I had, so before I started Honestly Clean, one of the ideas I had was to do car detailing, but what I wanted to do was go to like big companies and offer it to their employees. And so you go to a, the big one in town for me was called Melaleuca, and they had, thousands of employees, and they had just a parking lot just full of cars. And so you just go hit up these big companies and be like, hey, we'll give you a discount for your employees. Normally, let's say it's $150 to do just the exterior. We'll do it for $100. And then you can go to one place and have 20 customers that are just right there and just go do them all right then and make a bunch of money in one spot. So that's just an idea. I never ended up doing it, but there's plenty of ways to make a lot of money doing this.
And I think it's the most satisfying content to watch as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's not only is this like a really awesome job, but promoting it is really easy to do, and growing a following is really easy to do as well, because it's like We've all watched them. I guarantee everyone has watched
Yes.
one of these videos where it's like disgusting car transformed or whatever the name is. And it's awesome for this kid too that I've been referencing. Is like he's just doing it in a small geographic region. Just like,
Hmm.
yep, cool. Like max I'm gonna have to drive to like go do this is like 30 minutes. Like so
Yes.
if he ever wants to expand, he can, because he's only in this small geographic region. He can just like, all right,
Hmm.
cool. Now I'm heading to Salt Lake. Now I'm heading to Provo, wherever it is. I think car detailing is like one of my favorite things. Also, one of my students last year started doing it, and we had this little competition of how much money could like each class make versus one another. And this
Yeah.
kid didn't try hard, and I think he made $5,000 in like 2 months. So if you're wondering if it is possible, if Nathan can do it, you can do it.
Yes.
Oh, right. And
Go
our
go Nathan.
last one, and I'm obviously going to defer to Aaron on this one as well, is carpet cleaning. What are expected startup costs for carpet cleaning?
So this one's going to be a little if you buy a now if you can't unless you have the money, but we're talking about businesses that don't require a ton of startup capital. You could get a portable carpet cleaning machine between $2,500 to $5,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But that's how I started. I started with a portable machine, and the dream was to eventually get a van mounted machine, which is 1,000 times easier to do the cleanings. But I used the portable machine for probably a year and a half, and I'd say on average you're probably around 200 to 250 per like residential job, and you get multiple jobs a day. Like it wasn't unheard of to get 5 or 6 jobs in a day. And again, do commercial stuff like offer your services to commercial businesses as well. If you're again, if you decided to go the commercial cleaning route and you're doing janitorial cleaning, add in carpet cleaning, added window cleaning, added all these different services, you can make a bunch of money. But just with the carpet cleaning, you can make a lot of money. And that's the other thing too, is that repeat customers. Like you do a good job, they like you call them up because they want it done once a year. And a lot of times it's multiple times a year because they might want it done once in the summer. And then guess what? Holiday season's coming along. We would get clients all the time. They're like, I got family coming over, I have friends coming over. My kids spilled this or that. I want to make sure my carpets look good for when my family gets here. And so during this time of the year, we're in November right now, you just get you get a ton of clients. We would get to the point where it was so booked up. If somebody called, I would just start throwing out your like, Alex, your
Crazy
crazy
number.
$1,200 to clean your windows. I'd just be like, and guess what? Sometimes people are desperate enough, they would say yes. And so maybe the job would normally be $250. I'm already booked. I'm going to have to do this kind of after my normal hours. It's going to be $800. And most of the time they would say yes. They're like, that's fine. I just need to get it done. $800, whatever. That's fine. And so you can just make really good money doing this.
And what's really surprising with what Aaron just shared in that example is that people are grateful. Like when people can get put in, like, oh, we call them and then same day they showed up, like they're thankful that they paid a premium to get it done. Because at the end of the day, and maybe this goes a little bit into like the sales conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, but it's at the end of the day, your job is to solve a problem for people. And whatever that problem is, in the example Aaron gave is, I need my carpets cleaned today. Oh, great. We can solve that problem for $800. Thank you for solving that problem for me. So like, I think you'd be incredibly surprised. And I've seen this too. And maybe this is like a bonus extra one. Obviously it requires a little bit more skill and understanding of platforms and stuff, but like digital marketing company, you need a laptop and an internet connection. So if you have those things, you can start executing those types of things. But I bring this up because essentially all business is the exact same thing. And it's how fast do you want this done? If you want it done this fast, it's going to cost extra money. Have we talked about this at all? Where it's like you have like the three things you can choose. It's
No
you price, speed, quality.
quality.
you can't have all three. I think you can have all three. You just have to pay a load of money for it. If you
Yes.
want quality, speed, and what was the other one? Quality, speed,
Price.
and price. So
I
yeah,
think
so no,
cheap.
I actually
Cheap.
just I
So
just
no,
proved
no.
I
Well,
just proved myself wrong.
and no, you're right, because the example is quality, time, cheap. So you can only have two. You can only have two. That's what that one really is. And so people are more than likely willing to pay more, so they're not going to get it cheap, they're going to get quality and time. And so those are the two things that you're going to get out of that. And listen, I'm not saying every time I throw out a crazy number people are like, thank you, I'm absolutely going to pay that. Yeah, of course there's going to be people like, $800, that's insane, I'm going to shop around, which is fine, because you're in a position where you're already booked. Like, you actually don't really want to do it, but for that price, you're willing to make that sacrifice in order to do it. But yeah, that's all it really is being available to do it, and then you make that extra money. That's all it really is. Like, they want to do it, awesome. If they don't, awesome. I'm already booked for the day anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So those are the 5 options that you all have. And once again, like Aaron said, there's dozens of other things that you can start. I gave you that bonus one of doing a marketing company where it's like, just go do some research, especially if you're young. That's like my big thing is, if you are young and have very few dependencies, there's never going to be a better time in your life than right now to start your own business, because costs are low. Like, this isn't like you need $10,000, $20,000. Costs are low, and you have all of the time in the world to go and do these things. And while you are doing these things, maybe you're going to have some people who are like, oh, why aren't you like, I don't think you have to sacrifice 100% of your life, like every single Saturday. And you can't go to, like, you just have to pick and choose, like, just schedule, like, oh, I can't make this event, I can make that event. I can't make this event, I can make that event. The sacrifice, I don't think, is as significant as some people think that it's going to be. Like, yeah, it's true, there are some times I have to work on weekends, but it's not all the time. There's sometimes I have to work late, like I've had to a couple of times this week, but it's not all the time. Like, so that you just have to pick and choose and just be a good time management planner.
But be willing to make those sacrifices. I think there's some, especially people nowadays, are like, hey, my weekends are sacred, I'm never working a Saturday, or my nights are sacred, I'm never going to work that. But you're right, Alex. Like, yes, it wasn't like every single Saturday and Sunday while I was building my business was all day, every day, or every day, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Yeah, you're still going to have some time. But the difference was I was still willing to work that Saturday, that Sunday, those late nights, where some people are like, nope. And you're even more right, because if you don't have these like family responsibilities where, you got to be making sure the kids are taken care of or picked up, their homework's done, they're fed, all this kind of stuff. Dude, if you have all this free time, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it while you can, and build something so by the time you do have that family and you do have those new responsibilities that you have to take care of, you're already set up and you're ready to go.
Well, let's switch over to some listener submitted business questions. All right.
Yes.
We got 2 today. Both are kind of short, so I think I'll just read them. Remember to submit any questions that you have to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com, or in YouTube comments, or any social comments, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to ask. Send us messages and we will get to them. Question 1. My window cleaning business is booked solid, but I'm scared to hire more guys because every time I bring someone new in, quality drops and I end up redoing jobs. How do I scale without losing the consistency that got me here?
Listen to our last podcast where we talk about, or whatever podcast, about standard operating procedure. That I ran into the same issue. And what I learned from is, like, you have a SOP, and maybe right now you're not training people long enough. And not only that, but spot checking their work. So even if you've done, like, let's say it's a week worth of training, you're comfortable with them doing their own thing. If you don't follow up with those employees on some sort of spot kind of check, they'll eventually they'll start doing. It's almost like human nature. You do the least amount possible to still keep your job. And so what we would do is we would go out. They wouldn't know. We're just like, all right, hey, we're gonna go with you today and see how you're doing these. Or we would show up at the end of their job and we would go walk through with the client, see how things were going. And I think them knowing there was a chance that we might show up kept them honest, like kept them like, hey, if Aaron's going to show up, maybe in their mind they're doing a window and they're like, yeah, that looks good enough. But then they think to themselves like, well, if Aaron showed up and saw that, he probably that's not what it needs to be. And so just that, and rewarding too. You don't want to just be like a fear thing, but just like, hey, every time you get a good review from a client, we'll give you an extra $20 or whatever it is. Or if you get a certain amount of good reviews from those clients, because following up with the clients each time is also very important. So at the end of every day, make sure you're calling those clients, or maybe it's the next day, like, hey, just want to see how those cleanings went. And if you're starting to see that John is getting a lot more complaints, figure out what's going on. Like, make sure, like, hey, John, are you doing it this way? Are you walking through with the client at the end of each job to make sure that everything looks good with them or for them before you leave the property? Because it's going to be a lot cheaper to clean it right then than it is having to schedule another time to come back out and fix those things. And clients like that anyway. So just having all of those procedures in place will prevent a lot of the issues with your employees not doing an awesome job.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a ton to add to this besides the standard operating procedures and just spot checking, like just keeping people honest. And I agree with Aaron, like you don't want to do this from like a fear based, ensuring that you're rewarding as like positive work continues to be done and promoting, giving new opportunities, new responsibilities, and then you are teaching those people over the time how you are managing, and then they will start managing the same way you are as the new people that come in. All right, number 2. We're close. Hey, Unsexy Businessmen, we are close to closing a deal with a huge client, but I'm 80% sure we aren't going to be able to fulfill on the timeline they gave. The job will need equipment we don't have, and I can't secure it in time to execute the job decently. Wait, I can't secure in time to execute the job, but we can do it decently. Not nearly as awesome if we had the new equipment. We could fake it and lose on hours and a bit on quality because we won't be efficient. And then the new equipment will arrive in 3 to 4 weeks later, just in time for doing the third job. Is it worth the risk? My concern is job 1 and 2 quality won't be up to par and they will pass on us before the equipment arrives and never consider us or refer us to anyone.
Yeah, so we would do stuff all the time where they'd ask us if we could provide a service and we'd always just say yes. But I always made sure that we could actually provide the service and in quality. I wouldn't make that gamble because, dude, I don't know what industry this is in, but people talk. So if you promise something, you never want to overpromise, underdeliver, ever, ever, ever. And so if that gets out that you are over promising and under delivering, like I said, I don't know where you're at or the size of city that you're in, but usually people in all industries kind of know each other. And if you were to do that, and it's just going to become a giant headache and giant nightmare to try and fix all of these mistakes, I would talk to them and see if there's a way you could push the timeline. I'm like, hey, we have this new equipment coming. It's going to, allow us to do a much better job. Are you okay with waiting a couple of weeks? What does it say, 2 or 3 weeks before the stuff gets there? Are you okay with waiting for that? And just being honest with them. You just want to, that's one of the things we talk about. Provide good service, be honest, and be normal. And you are already not doing 2 of those things. So you're not being honest. And
I think that's the simple answer is what you just said there. Like, just talk to them and say 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If they've gotten to this stage where they're about to close with you, I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker. I've never in my entire career In fact, I just had to do it recently, been upfront with someone and said, hey, we promised that we were going to have X thing delivered by this date. We can still have X thing delivered by this date. I do not think the quality of it is going to be up to the standards that we want. Can we have 1 to 2 more days to get it? I have said that. I've done that a few times. I haven't done, this isn't like every single project that we work on. Obviously, that would be a problem. But when I truly believe that our quality is not going to meet the standards that I want it to be at, there's not been a single time that a client has said, no, we want it on the actual delivery date. They have always said, thank you for being transparent. And yes, we are willing to wait for a better quality thing 2 days later. Now it's going to become problematic if you were going to give them like yeah, we aren't going to have this equipment for a year. Then it's gonna be like, well, sorry, like that has to be comparable to like the timeline has to be somewhat lined up. It can't just be some crazy number where you're like, all right, this is going to be even like, I think a month to 2 months would probably be too long. I don't know what industry you're in either, but like if it's like 2 to 3 weeks, I have a feeling, and you're already close to closing with them, they'll be like, we now respect you more, and it's going to strengthen the relationship.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening today. Remember to submit your questions to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com or in the YouTube comments, Instagram comments, wherever you want to leave the comments, and we will get those answered for you. Thanks again for listening. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll chat with you next week. Thank you for listening to the Unsexy Businessmen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Now go get to work.